Hello and welcome to Physics with Amol sir. So this video is for class 11 and today we will continue with units and measurement. So in the previous class we spoke about fundamental quantities and their units. Also we saw the two supplementary quantities. So I hope that concept was understood and based on that we were able to understand the derived quantities. So understand that whenever anything that we are learning in physics, these quantities, okay, and their units, they will always be used. So that knowledge is always very essential. Today we will move to the next part, that is the measurement part. Okay, so let's begin. So measurements. So measurement is something that we do every day. So not necessarily only when we are studying or only when we are doing physics. Measurement is something we do in all walks of life. For example, when we go to the market, okay, we want to purchase something. So we say, for example, we want to buy 1 kg onion. So the person who is selling it, he will weigh the onion. Okay, he is actually measuring 1 kilogram of onion. Or we want to check our height, right? So when we are checking our height, even that is a kind of measurement. Or when we are traveling, we check our speedometer and we see how fast we are going. That is also a measurement. So measurement is something that is an integral part of us. And that is why it is very important for us to understand this concept. Now for measurements, the very important thing is quantities. We should have the knowledge of quantities to be able to do measurements. Along with that, we should know the units. So we should be using proper units for doing the measurement. And with that, the most important thing we need is the instrument. For any kind of measurement, instrument is very, very essential. For example, you want to measure the length of your notebook, for example, then you will use a simple scale. When you use a scale, that scale will help you to understand the length of your book, right? So the scale is an instrument. Or when we want to measure the mass of an object, correct? We use the weighing machine. So weighing machine becomes an instrument. Or when we are not feeling well, the doctor will check our temperature. For that he will use the thermometer. So thermometer is an instrument. So instruments are very important whenever we are doing measurements, right? And those instruments need to be properly calibrated. They should not have any error. So the next part we are going to see, then we will talk about how to find the errors and all. Today we will see about how to do the measurements, okay, and what are the aspects that are involved. So whenever we are talking about measurements, there can be two kind of measurements. So one we call them as direct, the other we call as indirect. Direct measurement means, for example, I told you want to measure the length of your notebook. Immediately you will take a scale and put it on the notebook. That is a direct measurement, correct? But when we want to measure, let us say, the distance from the earth and the moon, we cannot take a scale from the earth and take it to the moon. Then we have to use something called as an indirect measurement, okay? Now we are not going to go too deep into this particular topic of indirect measurement. Okay, we are going to see a very basic part just to understand the concept, okay, and the method that we are going to see is called as the parallax method, okay. But as I said, don't worry too much about it. In this particular topic, what you need to understand is how to find out distance by using the parallax method, okay. In short, we will see the indirect method. Now indirect method, again there can be two methods in indirect. One is called as the reflection method and the other is the trigonometric method. Reflection method, if you remember in 9th class, we spoke about the sonar, right, where we use ultrasonic sound to measure the depth of the ocean floor. Okay, so there what we do, one sound beam is sent to the ocean floor, it bounces back, okay, and that by the reflection we are able to measure the distance. That is called as the reflection method. The other method is the trigonometric method. Here we will talk in very short about the trigonometric method. Let us see how. Let us say there is a very tall building. We want to measure the height of this building. Let us say h is the height of this building. The base of the building, let us call it A, and the top let us call it as B. So we want to measure the total height of this particular building. Now measuring the height by the direct method will be a tough task as it is very, very large, okay. So here we will use the indirect method. What is the method we use? Let us say this is the horizontal, that is the ground surface. We are standing here, let us call wherever we are standing, that is the point O. we can measure the distance from where we are standing to the base of the building. Okay, that is OA. Let us say it is somewhere around 100 meters. Okay, now this is the distance that we can measure because the base of that building is accessible to us. We want to measure the distance AB. So what we will do? We will see from here. From here we will look at the point B, and if we draw a line from our point of observation from O to B, we will see that it makes some angle theta with the horizontal. Correct? Our line of sight will make some angle theta with the horizontal. How we can find it? There is an instrument that is called as a sextant. Okay, so using the sextant, you can actually find what is the angle that a particular point is making. You would have seen engineers when they are working on the road. Okay, you would have seen them using this particular instrument. Again, don't bother, don't worry too much about how that instrument works. But the task of that is to find out this angle theta, whatever it is making. And then we will use the trigonometric method. How we will use the trigonometric method? If you remember trigonometric ratios, you can find the tangent of theta. Correct? So you can write tan theta will be opposite upon adjacent. What is opposite? Opposite is AB upon what is adjacent? OA. Correct? We are interested in AB, so we can write therefore AB will be equal to OA tan of theta. OA is known to us as 100 meters, and theta is also known to us by using the sextant we have found out. So O into tan of theta, you will be able to understand what is the height of this building. This is the trigonometric method. Okay, and this is used by engineers if you want to measure the height of a building or height of a mountain. For such things, you can actually use this particular method. The other method is called as the parallax method. First, we need to understand what we mean by parallax. So what I want you to do, pick up any object in your living room right now. Okay, any kind of object you can choose. Let us say you have chosen your TV, for example. Okay, then take your thumb, stretch it like this, and from your thumb you compare it with the TV. Let us say you bring your thumb exactly in front of the TV. Okay, after doing that, close your right eye. Okay, and then close your left eye. You will notice that the position of your thumb with respect to the TV will change, right? If you change your right eye, it will move to one side. If when you close your left eye, your thumb, it will seem like it is moving to the other side, correct? This is called as the parallax. Okay, because see, we are having 2 points of observation, our 2 eyes. So whenever we are looking at an object, the line of sight for both the eyes will be different. So when you close one eye, the object will shift to one side. When you close the other eye, it will shift to the other side. This is called as the parallax. And using this parallax method, we can actually find very large distances. For example, let us say this is our Earth. Okay, and there is a star that is very, very far away. We are interested in finding distance from the star, from our Earth to that star. For that, what we will do, we will have 2 telescopes like this. Okay. Let us call these points, let us name them, this point A and this point we will name B. So we can move our telescope such that the telescope points exactly to the star, and then this will be the line of sight for the telescope that is at A. Okay, let the position of the star be at some point O, for example. Then from B we will move our telescope, and that telescope will point to the star, and this OB will be the line of sight for the other star. We will see that both these rays OA and BO, they are making some angle theta. This is called as the angle of parallax or parallax angle. Correct? Distance AB, because it is on the Earth, we are actually able to measure, and we will assume that AB is a straight line. We will not imagine it as a curve. Okay, so we can imagine AB is a straight line, and let us say that distance is small d, right? And from the star to the Earth, we will write the distance as capital D. So capital D is the distance between Earth and the star. Now because the star is very far away, we can basically imagine the distance from A to O and B to O is approximately the same, right? So this is the situation that we get. And using this, we can find out what is the distance D. So how do we find capital D? Once again, we use the same trigonometric method. We will say, let us say tan of theta. So tan of theta will be opposite by adjacent. So this is small d by capital D, and thereby we will say capital D, that will be equal to small d upon tan of theta. But you can see, because the star is very far away, this theta is going to be very, very small. Okay, and remember, there is a rule in trigonometry we have, that if theta is very small, we can say tan of theta is equal to theta. Okay, so because this theta is very, very small, we are going to say that tan of theta is approximately equal to theta. Then what the formula becomes? It becomes capital D is equal to small d by theta. And this, by this method, we can actually find out what is the distance between two objects, that is between Earth and the star, or between Earth and the other planet. Okay, this is called as the parallax method. The same method you can use to find out size of a planet also, okay, or size of a star for that matter. For example, imagine this is a planet that we want to find the size, the diameter we want to find. Okay, from Earth we are observing that particular planet. Then what we will do, we will have a common point of observation, and we will see that the two ends of that particular planet, they are subtending an angle. Let us say some angle alpha, they are subtending on our point of observation. Correct? Let us say small d is the diameter of that planet. Capital D is the distance between the planet and the Earth, which we have already calculated. Okay, and the same method we can use to find out small d as well. Okay, once again we will have alpha is equal to small d by capital D, and thereby small d will be equal to alpha into capital D. Okay, here the small d stands for the diameter of that planet. So using parallax method, either we can find very large distances, or we can also measure the diameters of very large objects. In fact, that is how we are able to specify with so much accuracy that Mars is having this much diameter, or Jupiter is having this much diameter. We go for the parallax method. So I hope this method was understood. Now what you are going to do is, you are going to see solved examples 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 and 2.4. Okay, here parallax method is used to find out the distances. Okay, and also there are some numericals regarding conversion of degrees to radians, that already we have discussed in the previous class. Okay, so solve these 4 examples. Definitely there will be doubts after you have solved them. Okay, send your doubts. In the next class we will try to solve them. Okay, thank you.